This is the Vacation Rental Success Podcast, keeping you up to date with news, views, information and resources on this rapidly changing short-term rental business. I'm your host, Heather Bayer, and with 25 years of experience in this industry, I'm making sure you know what's hot, what's not, what's new, and what will help make your business a success. Well, hello and welcome to another episode of the Vacation Rental Success Podcast. This is your host, Heather Bayer, and as ever, I'm super delighted to be back with you once again. So today we're continuing along our theme of the shift towards direct bookings and why it has to be a year-round movement now and not just something we focus on one day a year on Book Direct Day, which has traditionally been the first Wednesday, I think, in February. But with what's going on with the OTAs right now, and Airbnb in particular, and all the little nuggets they're dropping every so often, the time has come to make this a continuous process. Not just come to it on one day, but have it as part of your overall marketing strategy year-round. And there's no one better to talk to about this than Jenn Boyles, who is the founder of the Direct Booking Success Summit and host of the Direct Booking Success Podcast, and a passionate advocate for helping hosts and managers take back control of their bookings and their businesses. Jen's been on this journey herself. She started out as a short-term rental host in a heavily OTA-saturated market. And through trial and error and a lot of marketing savvy, she found her way to an incredible 80% direct booking rate. And now she's on a mission to help others do the same. In this conversation, Jenn shares the story behind her journey. And she talks about direct booking and strategies that hosts can start implementing right away. She talks about the trends she's seeing in the industry and how we can all play a role in building a more sustainable and independent future for our businesses, as well as sharing with us the story behind the Direct Booking Success Summit, which has been going on for a few years now and growing every year. And you'll hear what you can expect from this year's event and why direct bookings are so much more accessible and more essential than ever. So whether you are already on the direct booking path, and I hope you are already doing that, or maybe you are just starting to explore the idea, this episode's full of fresh insights, actionable advice, and some takeaways, and lots of information on the upcoming summit. So let's get into it. Here's my conversation with Jenn Boyles. So I am super delighted to have with me today Jenn Boyles from the Direct Booking Success Summit and all sorts of other marketing things that Jenn is going to talk about, right?
Definitely. Happy to be here, Heather. Love it.
Yeah, you better introduce yourself, Jenn, because I always go to the summit because that is your flagship event every year. And it's something we're going to be talking about quite a lot on this episode. But you do so much more than that. And it's so much better if it comes from you. So why don't you just kick off by telling us, who you are, where you got here, why are you doing this stuff? Because I know from running face-to-face conferences that it is difficult, but I think virtual summits are even worse. So I'll hand it over to you.
Well, thanks for the vote of confidence. But anyways,
did that not come out right? I'm trying to say is that you have the best organizational skills I've ever come across for bringing all these cats into line. It's like herding cats, I think, when you're doing a virtual summit.
It is. And I do have a summit coordinator with me who does it. So it's not just me, thankfully. And Emmy is amazing. So shout out to Emmy because she's the one who is herding the cats.
And she still hasn't found me.
Oh no. Anyway, so I was a host. That's how I sort of started. I think a lot of us have fumbled into this and into vacation rentals. And we had an apartment in the French Alps and we were thinking about selling it and we didn't know what to do with it. And Airbnb was huge, right? It's back in the heyday. I know it took a couple of years for it to really hit Europe from coming from North America. So 2011, and we're like, what should we do? Let's put it on Airbnb and see what would happen. We put it up in the morning, and in the afternoon, I was on the ski slopes, and I tell you not, this is not a lie, my phone was pinging with bookings.
Oh, those were the days. Those were the days.
I know. And that, and I think the way that Airbnb does it, like it's almost like a drug. You're just like, it's addictive. It's so cool. This is awesome. And it went really well. And we used that same sort of strategy, which was basically get on Airbnb for a few properties. And then when we got to our third property, which was in a different country, a new market, but still in the Alps, it was in Austria, chalet, it didn't happen. Like, that's the thing, is it didn't happen. It was a few years later, and the phone wasn't pinging, and we had a mortgage to pay. And we're like, why? Why isn't this working? Airbnb is the holy grail, right? Like, it's going to bring everything. It's going to solve all our problems. And it has done, but it wasn't. And we started taking a real close look at everything. And we realized that, like, every second building in this town was rented out. It was a chalet or a boutique hotel or whatever. And they were all gorgeous. And so ours just couldn't stand out. When you're looking at a page of all these listings, ours looked just as good as the next one. And we had a sauna and a games room. So like, we had the amenities. That's not how we could stand out. And you could ski right from the back door to Sound of Music. Oh, it was just the most beautiful place, but we couldn't stand out. And the previous owners did rent it out to some friends and family. And we had somebody call us and say, we want to come back. Can I just give you some money? Can I just transfer you some money? And I had drunk the Airbnb Kool-Aid, and I was aghast. Oh my goodness, going off platform. I couldn't believe it. But then I needed the money, and I needed that guest. And I said yes. And that's sort of when the penny dropped that I shouldn't be looking at Airbnb to fill my nights. I should be looking at this as an actual business, like any kind of business in any kind of industry, and actually go out and get my guests myself. So how am I going to do that? I'm going to start building a brand. And then forward into our fourth property, I was able to open it with 80% direct bookings. And fast forward again to 2020, and we all know what happened with Airbnb canceling all these. And this is not Airbnb bashing. It's just that they're the leading one, and they actually have done these things. So they canceled all those reservations, all the bookings, without even email to a host. And people online were freaking out. And I wasn't, because I had 80% direct bookings. And I looked around and I thought, oh my goodness, you haven't been doing what I've been doing. You haven't been through that same journey. Let me help you. So 2020 is when I started helping other people sort of have that same success that I was able to do. And I love it. Mm-hmm. I absolutely love this industry. I love helping hosts and property managers and owners. It's so fulfilling. It really is, to see when that moment happens, that light bulb that, oh yeah, this is a business. This is my business. I shouldn't be relying on others. I need to go out and do some things myself.
Well, it's interesting because, we had Humphrey Bowles on recently talking about the term he uses, which is digital sharecropping, which is really all to do with using somebody else, renting your business on somebody else's land. Mm-hmm. And I mean, that phrase has been around for a long time, but it really is coming to the fore today. And it's interesting, as we do this series on direct booking, it made me think that prior maybe to 2025, we just talked about direct booking as one day in February. First Wednesday in February was Book Direct Day, and that's when we all concentrated on it. But it's a year-round process now, isn't it? You can't just post one day as Book Direct Day and do your promotions for that then, and then ignore it for the rest of the year.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And in 2020, I created a 6-month program for hosts and property managers to really put together a robust marketing plan. And it took us 6 months of hard graft and work to get it done. But of course, it worked. It was great. And now in 2025, with the advent of AI, we do that in my SDR content lab. We do that, basically that 6-month program in 2 hours a month.
Yeah.
Life has changed so dramatically.
This year has been just, monumental, for me as well. I discovered AI at about the same time as you did, as we got into to actually use it, as we got into 2023, and we had ChatGPT had just appeared, and I think you and I both started. We both jumped at it and said, "Wow, this is amazing!" And now I know you, like I, use the word "wow" just so often, because every day there's something new that gives you that, "Oh my gosh, wow!"
And AI helps so much that there's no reason now. It's broken down those barriers. There's no reason now not to do your own marketing.
Yeah.
Because you can create assistants and agents that are actually doing it for you. As long as you have the strategy. And that is something that I know we can talk about a bit, but that is the linchpin of the thing, right? That's the kicker. You've got to have a strategy. Can't just be posting on social media of, sunsets. There's got to be some strategy behind it.
And there's also got to be some knowledge of what this is all about as well. I don't know if you knew, Bart Sobeys and I are doing an AI skills lab 90-minute session at Verma.
Oh, wow, that'll be amazing. Oh, my goodness, I wish I was there. Oh.
But we're doing basics. This is the basics, and you've got to start at the beginning. You can't sort of come in and start, so I'm going to create, I'm new to AI, I'm going to start creating workflows. But you've got to get back to the beginnings, and you've got to understand how to prompt and do all that stuff first of all. But anyway, I can get very easily segued off into AI.
Yeah, but the point is that now is the best time. Like, if you've been sitting on the sidelines and going, yeah, I know, direct bookings, I really should do something about it. Now is the perfect time. It is the easiest thing. It's the easiest time to do it.
Yeah.
Website, getting yourself a website. There's people out there that can get them up in minutes. Like, it's ridiculously easy now. It's not always easy, but to get started, it's the easiest it's ever been.
I know, and it's going to get easier every day. Although, you can't be overwhelmed by all the bright, shiny new things that come along, because that's what happens to me. And I start going off in one direction, and then I get a newsletter. And you know what happens. You send out AI newsletters, and a newsletter pops in. It's like, oh, there's a new bright, shiny thing I hadn't seen before. Let's go and play with that. So you've just got to be very careful that, you focus. And I'm sure you talk about this in your content lab, with all your students, and you explain that you can't get distracted too much by all the new stuff. Stick to one thing, make it work for you until you know it inside and out, and then maybe look at the other stuff. But anyway, let's go back to, what about the common challenges that you see when independent hosts and property managers are facing when they try and reduce that dependence on OTAs?
I think the first thing I see is people will say to me, I can't compete with the likes of Airbnb, Booking.com, Vrbo. I don't have millions of dollars in my ad budget. And the thing is that what they're missing is the flip side, is they can compete because there's so many things that they can do that Airbnb, Booking.com, Vrbo cannot do. They can't actually compete with us. And it's the biggest thing is becoming that local expert. I'm just going to use Airbnb instead of going through all three of them. But, Airbnb and the likes, they cannot go into your local area. They don't know the best place to go for brunch and have eggs Benedict. They don't know that walk that you love to have by the shore or whatever it is. You're the one who knows those things. You know your property inside out, or properties. You know your area inside out. And that is how you can compete. And we're not talking paid ads.
Oh, I'm glad of that.
Yeah. Like, organic marketing doesn't cost anything. It's your time. That's where the cost is your time and your knowledge there to put it together. But you're not starting with ads. Again, it's like what you were talking about, but shiny objects, and coming in sort of at the top there of AI. You need to start at the beginning and have those foundations in place, which is the organic marketing. So social media, email, SEO, getting a website, those kind of things. So getting those foundations in place first, and then, layer ads on top later on. But think about how many bookable nights you have. Mm-hmm. Airbnb has, I don't know. It would be interesting to see how many nights they actually need to sell. I don't know if anyone's ever done that research, but they have millions of properties. They need millions of nights every night. If you've got one or a handful of properties, you only need that many bookings. And you may be of the mindset that you don't want a booking every single night. You want the property to have some time to breathe, less of heads in beds and more of sustainable business practices. So thinking about it that way, then you can realize that you don't need to start with ads because the organic marketing can reach the people that you need to book your properties.
When you were talking then, it popped me back to probably about 10 years ago. And I was going to, maybe longer, I was going to Sedona in Arizona. And it's a beautiful, beautiful place. But I knew the hiking trails there are just, they were over-touristed then. So I have no clue what they're like now. And I Googled secret hiking trails of Sedona. And there was a post, it was a blog post that came up from an owner of a property in Sedona, and he was talking about secret hiking trails and just saying that there are lots of hiking trails that I know about because I live here that nobody else knows, and I'm very careful not to share with anybody. However, you can download my ebook to the 10 of my favorite secret hiking trails in Sedona. He was charging for it. He was charging $10. I jumped at it and I spent my $10 and I got this ebook. I mean, it's 10 or 12 years ago. It wasn't flashily done on Canva, with loads of photos. I mean, there were a few images in there, but the content was what I wanted. I was his avatar. Somebody coming to Sedona for the first time, looking for something which was out of the tourist-focused areas. And he provided that need.
Example.
And that is the thing. The difference now is that he probably spent weeks putting together that ebook. Now you can have the framework for that ebook in minutes.
Yeah.
So back to AI again. This has made it so much easier. Because these ebooks and these downloads are just as important now as they were then. Because I happily gave him my email address. I got my ebook. I sent him $10. I have spoken about that so many times. And anybody going to Sedona, they get his information. Mm-hmm. So,
but that's a perfect example because he's done this. Now, I don't know if I wouldn't recommend charging for it. I would make it a free thing. And, because you're wanting to exchange for the person's email address, but they're going to be on the website. They've got the information. And then the next thing they're going to be is like, oh, where am I going to stay? Oh, what website am I on? Oh, let me look around here. Oh, isn't that an amazing place? I want to stay there. And they go and book. And that is a perfect example.
Yeah, and I've used that example over and over again because 10 or 12 years later, I remember it too. Mm-hmm. I remember that I was looking for something. He provided it almost immediately, and I happily exchanged my email address. Now, I know it's not as easy to get people to unload their information these days, but if you provide something of value, I mean, do you remember the conference we went to, the Scale conference we went to in Miami?
I wasn't there that year, but yeah. No, I wasn't.
All right. Because
I know.
Because Jodie Bourne and I did a presentation on lead magnets.
Yeah.
And, oh gosh, where are we? Well, must be 4 or 5 years ago now. So we did a joint presentation on lead magnets. And when I look back on that now and the time it would have taken to create those lead magnets, and now it's just
Yeah. Well, that's it. In a couple of weeks, I'm running a 3-day challenge, and this is exactly what we're going to be setting up. Which is a lead magnet, your landing page, the automations. We're going to do it in 3 days. We're going to build it together. And I've created everything with AI assistants and Canva templates and automations and landing page templates in BookDirect Pro. So everything's there. We're just populating it and tweaking it and making it, custom and getting that information. It starts with the idea of what that lead magnet's going to be. What is it that your ideal guest wants? What is it that they'll be like you, that they'll be just throwing their credit cards at you and saying, please, I want to stay here. What is that that you know that they want to know? And that will make...
It comes all the way back to having that local presence. And so just shifting back a little to your properties in the Alps, those strategies that you use to get to 80% direct booking so quickly, are they the same ones that you use, that you teach now?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Everything that I did, but I did it all by trial and error.
Yeah.
Right. And so there was a lot of mistakes along the way, and you look back and you think, oh, I should have done this way. It would have been so much faster, but you don't know what you don't know. Mm-hmm. But I've taken that and then I put it into a 6-month program. And now I've taken that and with AI, put it into the SDR Content Lab. And it's tweaked, it's refined, it's what's working now, because life is a little bit different, but those foundations stay the same with marketing. You're still wanting to reach your ideal guest and get them to come and book with you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So let's go on to the direct booking site and marketing strategy. What makes this actually happen? What makes a great direct booking website?
Well, the website is something where you want to show the benefits over the features. I know that we're in an Airbnb world, and that listing is important because people want to make sure that you've got what they need. But in your marketing and on your website, we want to be talking about more of the benefits. What's in it for them? So one thing I like to use is called the so what test. And it's probably my favorite thing ever. And I do it in my personal life, which I think drives people around me nuts. But somebody will say, we have a hot tub. So what? We have a fire pit. So what? We have beautiful views, so what? To the ideal guest, that's what they're saying. They're saying, so what? You have a hot tub. Okay, well, at the end of a day of walking on those paths that, those trails, you can come back and soak in that hot tub and relax. We have a huge dining table that seats 8 or 12 or whatever it is. So what? Well, you can get together with your family and cook a meal together and reconnect, throw the devices away and actually talk to each other. So all of these things, whenever you think about your listing and you're looking at your amenities, do the so what test. And then that is the stuff that you're wanting to put on your website in all the other places, and in your marketing as well.
That is so great. It takes me back again to Sedona and looking for properties. And yes, a lot of them said, we've got a hot tub and we've got a fire pit and we've got these great views of the Red Rocks. Yes, so what? So is everybody else.
Well, exactly. And that's what happened when we were in Austria. We said we had a sauna, we had a games room. You could ski out of the back door, which I guess not everybody had, but it was so what? And that's the part that when the penny dropped for me, it was, okay, what does my ideal guest need to know? What do they want to feel like? How can they make themselves think of themselves there, imagine there? Because we know when we book something, I'm actually going on a trip this afternoon and I'm in that anticipation, there's the word, mode of it's going to be really exciting. And, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm thinking about what we're going to be doing and who we're going to see and everything. And it's the best part of the trip. Mm-hmm. It's better than the actual doing. Sorry, I hope none of my friends hear this where I'm going this weekend. But, it is the best part of the trip. And that's what you want your ideal guests to feel like. They're really looking forward to it. You have to come true with all the things you've said. You have to be truthful and transparent. If they show up and they see that there's a skyscraper right beside your property and you haven't disclosed that, that is a problem. We want to be truthful, because your ideal guest doesn't care about the skyscraper. They want what you've got. So truthful, honest, put it out there. And it works.
So this episode is brought to you in part by the Straight Chat community, the online gathering place for short-term rental professionals who want more than surface-level advice. We've created this community for those people who want to explore new tools, to talk about the real challenges they're having, and to connect with others who get it. Straight Chat's where those meaningful conversations are happening, and we're sharing news and innovations and new tools and anything you want to know, along with office hours each week and regular tutorials. And along with that, if you've been seriously curious about AI, about how to use it for guest messaging or workflows, setting up standard operating procedures or even marketing, check out the AI Ambassador Program. It's designed for short-term rental professionals who want to lead the way with smart, ethical AI adoption. You don't need to be a tech expert. You just need curiosity and a desire to stay ahead of the curve and to lead the way in your company. Visit vacationrentalformula.com/AI to learn more and to join us. Let's look a little bit wider into the whole direct book movement. Do you see it changing now? Do you see that people are thinking more about it, and they're thinking more about it beyond the first Wednesday in February? Or is it the second Wednesday in February? I
think it's the first one. Yeah, because it always is so fast, and I'm like, oh my goodness, it's here.
Yeah.
I do. I actually do. In 2020, when I was starting to talk about it, there was a few people, but Airbnb was still in its heyday. And after the pandemic, if you had a property, you had no problem filling it. And a lot of people, a lot of gurus came out, I'm using air quotes if you're listening, gurus came out of the woodwork there because they had this amazing success just after the pandemic. And now things have changed where it's settling down. Life's getting a bit harder. People are tightening their purse strings, as it were. And it's something that a lot more people are talking about because they're realizing the benefit in it. They're realizing that you can't rely on the OTAs for everything. And Airbnb is not doing itself any favors right now. All of the things that they're doing, all the things, and they're the leading OTA, right? So all the things that they're putting out there are huge wake-up calls. Mm-hmm. The commissions, the temporary phone numbers, all this kind of stuff that they're doing. If this isn't a wake-up call for the entire industry, I don't know what else they need to do, because they're not going to stop, because it's their guests, not you. You are, I hate to say this, but you are an accommodation provider to the online travel agents. That's what you are. Mm-hmm. And that's what they're trying to squash. They're trying to squash any kind of host or property manager thinking that they have a business. You don't. You are an accommodation provider, which it sounds harsh, but it is true. And they're not going to stop. I have some ideas of what they might do in the future, and it'll be interesting to see, but it is going to continue. And for those who are fine with a hobby, mm-hmm. Renting out a room or renting out their vacation property or something like that as a hobby, and Airbnb fits the bill, or Booking.com or Vrbo, fine, do it. But if you're wanting to do this in a professional way, and it doesn't matter if you own or if you manage, you need to be looking at doing your own business. And that means getting your own guests. Can you imagine going to, say, a bakery, and you're decided you're going to go to a bakery, and you go to an online shop, and you've got all these different bakeries showing their bread? That's not going to happen, right? You need to if you're the owner of that bakery, you've got to get your own clients, your own customers. There's no one out there. This is the only industry. We're very lucky that we have the online travel agents that we can fall back on, if we need. But it's a wake-up call. It's a wake up call. And all the people out there talking about direct bookings now, if you're looking at working with somebody or you're following somebody, look at how they walk the talk.
Yeah.
Because there's a few out there, and I'm not naming any names and I'm not bashing anybody, but there's a few people out there that have had great success in just the last little while and haven't been in the game for a long time. And they don't see those ebbs and those flows. And, you have to be careful where you put your time and energy.
Yeah. I've often said this, and you have to be careful where you get your information from. And the people I've been talking to for this series, they've been in this business for years. Humphrey Bowles was talking, he goes back to the early 2000s. Lewis Andrews from the OVO network, he took the business over from his father.
Did he? I didn't know that.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, anybody who says they've been in it since the last century.
Yes.
It's not me. But yeah, that is pretty powerful stuff.
Yeah, I know. And now, now we're a quarter away through this century. And
I can't believe it.
Oh my gosh, there was we had our first properties in the 1990s. But yeah, you know what? You were there at VR Nation.
Yes, definitely.
Right?
Love VR Nation. Yeah.
You were there when they talking about, who's been in this business the longest time.
Yes.
And there was that, and I was thinking, well, yeah, I've been in it 30 years. I'm going to put my hand up. And there was the lady who'd been in it for 60 years.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And she talked about, everything going by post, by mail.
Yeah.
I thought she was going to start talking about carrier pigeons. Like I really thought we were going back in time, but it was amazing. It was amazing. Yeah. And she was practically sat beside someone who had started like 2 weeks before. Yeah. It gives me goosebumps thinking about it. It was such an amazing experience to listen to her and to hear her experience.
Yeah. And let's make this a shout out for VR Nation. It's an amazing organization. I will put links to it on the show notes. They've just announced their conference next year, which will be in April.
In Denver, Colorado.
I know.
Yep.
I've only been through Denver. I've never stopped.
Well, I will see you there. Yeah, I'm on the advisory committee for the conference. So we're planning away. It's amazing. It's going to be fabulous. Such a good group of people. And it's, you find your tribe, don't you? You find that conference that you really fit in with. And for an in-person conference, it's really brilliant in what they're putting together. So the end of April, can't remember the dates off the top of my head, but yeah, Denver, Colorado. Great.
Yeah. I'm on the education committee for VR Nation. So what we are producing is going to be monumental when it is released next spring. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Well, no, it's not fingers crossed. It will be. It will be completed by the conference next year. So glad we got that opportunity to do that shout out for VR Nation. Let's talk about your summit. We've got plenty of time, so I want to really dig in on the Don't Tell Me, the Direct Booking Success Summit.
Yes, got to get that success in there. We don't want just any direct bookings. We want successful ones.
Well, this is why this is called Vacation Rental Success Podcast.
Well, that's it. We're both very success.
Yes.
Anyway.
What inspired the creation of the summit?
Well, back in 2021, I was starting to see we had been in the online world and people were starting to put out in-person events. And I thought, there's going to be a lot of people like me who are not quite ready for in-person events or, the cost, the time to travel if they're looking after. I had a small child at the time. And, you just kind of thought, we need something that's online that can work across all the time zones and that people can they can come in their pajamas, like they can just show up and get what they need to get out of it. So 2021 started and I put together the first Direct Booking Success Summit, and we had about 500 people there. And I was in England at the time, so mostly Brits, which was great. And now last year, and I'm now in Vancouver, Canada, back where I grew up. Last year we had over 1,300. And this year we have about 40 speakers, and it's going to be huge. It's 3 days. It's free. It's a free conference that anyone can, wherever you are in the world, because you get most of the sessions from all the speakers are pre-recorded, which means you've got 24 hours to watch, and you can watch in your own time. We do have a live portion as well, and we do have a paid upgrade as well, the All Access Pass. So there's options in there depending on what you can and can't do. Mm-hmm. This year, we've even branched out a bit. So obviously, me being marketing, it's really started with the direct bookings and the marketing and the guest experience. And I've branched it out a bit more this year because it isn't just about the marketing piece. When you have direct bookings, you're creating a sustainable business. So it's all the pieces around that help you create that sustainable business, which is built on direct bookings. So we have 5 tracks. We've got business growth and operations, guest experience and hospitality, leadership and personal development, marketing and branding, and website and tech.
That's a lot to cover. So who are the speakers? You know, can you give us any standout presentations you're really excited about?
Yeah, let me talk to you about a few, and I'm not going to talk about yours or mine. I'm going to give some other people some shout outs. But I put together a group of presentations that talk about creativity and visibility and leadership and marketing. Okay. So, and what I'm hoping is that when people come to the summit, that they will look at the presentations and look at what they need right then and there that they can take action on. I'm a great one of just bringing all the information in and then sit on it, which is not right. You've got to actually action it because nothing's going to happen by like osmosis or, just in your mind, which I would love it. I'm hoping that the next sort of wave of AI, I can just think something and it happens. That would just be amazing. That's what I'm looking forward to. So I'll give you a few. I've just got my notes here. I've got 4 people here. So Emily Tillery, who's out of New York. Her session is how to design spaces for guests that market themselves. And her background is that she has founded a company called Reclaimed Retreats in New York's Hudson Valley after years of hosting herself. And she realized that design wasn't just about looking nice. It could forge that emotional connection that kept her guests coming back and also them spreading the word, right? So she's now redesigned 50 plus vacation rentals into high-rated, story-driven retreats. So she's going to be talking about that, talking about her framework, which engages sight, sound, touch, smell, and taste. Mm-hmm. I don't know about that.
Yes. Yeah? I years ago, oh my gosh, this is going back to 2012 when I did my very first presentation at a home away summit, and I called it The Power of Wow. And we talked, and in that presentation, I talked through all the senses and included taste. After that, I came back and in my own properties, we started to leave maple syrup treats.
Perfect.
So we were offering the local. That's where taste comes in. Is that it's in your gifts? You're offering the local retreats.
Well, my mind went to when my daughter was about 3 and I had to tell her to stop eating the table. So anyway, let's move on to Craig. Craig Webb, he's in the UK. I know you know his name. And he was a hotel manager and he's now an SEO strategist. And he, is frustrated that small operators are being buried online by the big ones, right? So his session is going to be outrank the OTAs with search terms that actually convert. So highly actionable about what, and he will be talking about like the same way that you found your man in Sedona, these niche search terms like dog-friendly cottages near Sedona or Snowdonia, those kind of things. So he's going to be talking about that. So it's going to be very action-driven.
Love that. I love that. I've seen a lot of what Craig has done, sort of follow him on LinkedIn and see his posts on there. So that's going to be really interesting. And this is it. SEO isn't dead.
No.
With the advent of AI. In fact, it might. I've seen it called different things now.
Oh, the new AI search. Yeah, yes, I don't know.
Yeah,
there's so many. There's no term that has really captured it yet. But we are having someone speak about that as well. So we're capturing sort of both sides of it. But no, SEO is definitely not dead.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ali Camaletti, who's got the best last name ever. And I know a friend of yours as well. And she's been in hospitality for 30 plus years. And she's in Oregon, and she runs a company called Spark Your Mindset. And she focuses on leadership and culture. And she's going to be talking about leading with empathy and creativity to grow a thriving vacation rental brand. That is going to be very amazing. And I think very empowering to get her thoughts about culture and leadership as drivers for direct bookings.
I absolutely love Ali. She's leader of our education, VR Nation Education Committee. And my goodness, does she keep everybody in line? But she has this wonderful way of expressing herself and talking that has us thinking, okay, yes, we are being held accountable here. But she gets the message across so beautifully. She's absolutely inspiring. I know of quite a few property managers where Ali is consulting for them and coaching some of their teams, and those people say they're completely inspired by her.
Mm-hmm. And Ali's services are things that are very important, but for smaller hosts and property managers, they can maybe seem out of reach. So this is a great way to look at how you can get your mindset in the right place that can help your business. So I love her. So it's going to be great. Okay. Sarah Stahl. Now she is out of Alabama, and she helped a boutique glamping resort shift from the OTAs to 93% direct bookings. And it's all about grassroots influencer system. Okay. So her session is the micro influencer blueprint behind 93% direct bookings. Amazing. She's going to talk about how to find creators, how to structure posts and social medias things, and how to actually measure that return on investment. Because I think that's where a lot of people fall. Well, I think there's a few pitfalls there, but one of them is not actually measuring what you're getting back in return for that influencer.
That is going to be a fascinating topic. And I know that one of my clients who is listening to this, I know you're listening to this, Julie, this is one that you need to listen to. So I was down in New York State with our clients, with Mike, a couple of weeks ago. We had a fabulous 2 days there in this just astonishing, just mind-blowing location. I'd never been to the Finger Lakes before. It was beautiful, absolutely idyllic, and they have this just wonderful 38 acres of beauty and gorgeous accommodation. But we had this discussion about, how do we get this message out? And we were talking influencers. Mm-hmm. So this is a great one for you, Julie.
Yeah,
it's
going to be great.
Make sure you listen to this one.
And that is just the tip of the iceberg. I couldn't go through all 40, but we've really curated amazing sessions that will give actionable results. Mm-hmm. But there's also the chance of being totally overwhelmed because it's a lot. And so there is a paid upgrade, the All Access Pass, which gives you replay access to all of them for however you want, lifetime, a podcast feed, because I know you're a podcast aficionado, and it's so nice to be able to walk while you're listening to people, as well as a whole bunch of bonuses from the speaker so that you can go deeper into some of these subjects with them. And it's shaping up. I think, I think this every year, but I think this one really is going to be the best one ever. The lineup, the information, the knowledge, the expertise, the games. We play bingo, and the prizes coming through are amazing. And we're going to do a lot. And it's fun. And, the one downside about being online is that we're not looking at each other face to face. We're not in that in-person environment. But I think this is second best. And we're going to have networking sessions. So you will meet other people in other areas around the world. And we're trying to do things so that you still have that connection with others. And I think that that's an important piece. And I think this is a nice accompaniment to all the other in-person events that we've got on.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people like Ali Camilletti. She was very intentional this year. When I was in Austin that must have been VR Nation.
Yes, that was VR Nation. Yeah, in Texas. Yeah.
When I was and with Ali then, and I said, are you going to any of the conferences? And she said, no, I'm being intentional about it this year. I want to stay home. Her daughter is at that sort of 7-8 years old. She said, I want to be with her as much as I possibly can. And conference season, I see posts from people who are flitting from Mexico to Italy to England to Las Vegas. They're just all over the place. And, I completely understand when you're working for a vendor, you probably have to go. But for those like Ali who can say, okay, intentionally this year, I'm just not going to do this. But you do get this FOMO, fear of missing out. And
I'm the same with Ali. Like I went to VR Nation and I'm not going to anything this fall, but I am going to a local marketing thing in Vancouver for a couple of days because then I don't have to fly and stay overnight. But I'm missing Verma and I will have FOMO. And there's other things that I'm missing. I'm missing Scale in Manchester, which I'm really...
Yeah, me too.
Kick myself because I'd love to be there, and he's also doing the Book Direct show there. And I went last year when he did it in Barcelona, but now it's in Manchester. Oh, so I'm going to have terrible FOMO, but I'm the same. I need to be intentional about where I spend my time and my money. Yes. That's the other thing. Like it's both.
Well, yes, because you see all these people flitting about, but they are mostly working for vendors, and their hotel, their flight, their sustenance is all paid for.
Yes.
When you're doing it by yourself, it all adds up, and
And it's the same for hosts and property managers.
Yes, exactly.
Think looking at these events, and there's so many of them. Yeah. And picking out what will move the needle for you. Don't feel like you have to go to everything.
Yeah, and kudos to you for doing this because I've seen the evolution of the Direct Booking Success Summit over the years, and every year you're making it better. Every year there's more being included. Something we haven't mentioned is what dates are they?
Oh yeah, that would be a good idea. It's November 4th to 6th.
Yeah, I mean, I know that because I will be in Las Vegas at the AI for Business conference. So that is one that I decided that I would invest in this year. I actually went to Orlando for the first big conference they had back in June, and it was just monumental. I thought I've got to go to the next one in Vegas. I think they had 500 people in Orlando. They're expecting 1,500 in Las Vegas.
I've seen the emails. I'll have FOMO too. But maybe we should have a group where we all go to different conferences and come back and then, give a report, if you will.
I think that is a great idea. I really do. I know when I go to Verma, I fly in on the Sunday morning and I leave on Tuesday morning. So that's real in and out. Yeah, it's my husband's birthday. The day after.
It's also Canadian Thanksgiving.
Oh, yes, I will be away for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
But thank you to my son and his wife and family that are throwing Thanksgiving dinner on the Saturday, which is why I'm not flying out till Sunday.
Oh, well, that's lovely. That's lovely. I know we have to do something with Verma and get those dates moved.
I know. Every year it falls over either Thanksgiving or my husband's birthday. And this year he's got a bit of a milestone, and I thought I'm not going to be away for this one. So
no.
So we have the 4th to the 6th of November.
Yeah.
And where can people find out more about it? Apart from on the show notes, you can go find out about it.
Go to the show notes, but the website is dbssummit.com.
Perfect. Well, all that information is going to be on the show notes, so make sure you check that out. Jenn Boyles, it is always an absolute pleasure to speak with you. I'm excited about what you do. You're doing fantastic stuff for this industry, and I am glad to be in your sphere.
Oh, Heather, you're too kind. You're too kind, because it's ditto. It's right back at you. It's lovely to have gotten to know you over the years. You know, I started listening to your podcast when I first started helping others, and I would go for my walks when I was living in England, around Cheshire, and I would have you in my ear. And then to meet you and work with you and be on your podcast, like it's really wonderful. So thank you, Heather.
It's my pleasure. And I will see you April next year.
In person, yes, for a big hug, definitely.
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Jenn, for joining me.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you so much, Jenn. Oh gosh, I could talk to Jenn for hours. We did, in fact, after we stopped recording, we probably chatted for another 20, 30 minutes, and it was only because she had to go out that we stopped. It's so great. There are so many similarities between us. You know, she lived in England for a long time and is now and considers herself probably more British than she is Canadian, and lives now in Vancouver, which is where my father's family lived for a couple of generations. And yeah, it was just absolutely great to connect with her. Really enjoyed that conversation. Now, registration for the Direct Booking Success Summit opens on the 22nd of October. So mark that in your calendar. Go to the link in the show notes and register. Go listen, watch, contribute, take part. What I love about this summit is that it is very, very interactive. So you can be a part of it by going to some of the networking sessions. You get to speak with the speakers, network with other attendees, ask your questions. It's one of the best virtual summits I have ever been to, and I know this year is not going to be any different. It's going to be even better than before. So out of transparency, if you do sign up for the All Access Pass option through my link, then I do get a very small affiliate fee. So just want to be transparent about that, but I actually think the All Access experience is a really, really great one. The bonus that I'm giving for my session, and my session is on Notebook LM and the magic of it. And I'm going to be sharing everything I know about using Notebook LM, which is, to me, one of the best platforms there is out there right now, sort of beyond the ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini. But this is a free platform, and I'm going to be sharing everything I know about it. The bonus that I'm offering with the All Access experience is a 20-minute session with me. I will open up my calendar. You can make a date to come talk to me about AI. And what will happen in that conversation is that I'll ask you about your business and what you're using with AI at the moment. And then following the conversation, I send you a report on what I think you can do for your specific business with AI. So I think it's a really good bonus, because I would have loved that to not only have a discussion with one of the speakers, but also to get this report following it. So that to me is, I think it's the best bonus you could have. And anyway, it means I get to talk to people, which is something I really enjoy. Love getting folks on the phone or on a Zoom call and actually having a discussion about their business and hearing about it. So buy the All Access Pass and book a slot with me. Okay, that's it for this week. I am heading off to Verma. I will look forward to next time. It's been a pleasure as ever being with you. If there's anything you'd like to comment on, then join the conversation on the show notes for the episode at vacationrentalformula.com. We'd love to hear from you, and I look forward to being with you again next week.